Hello and welcome to Soul Basics Soul Chat. Today we are talking with Simone Constantin. Simone is a business mentor working with entrepreneurs. She is a children's author, a world traveler. Her hobbies include golfing and photography. And in addition to all of that, Simone is a wife, a mother, and a grandmother. Simone is one of the hardest working women I have come to know. She is always helping people, especially those in need. Welcome, Simone. I am thrilled to have you here to chat with you today. But I seriously have to ask, how do you do it all?
Oh, well, first of all, thank you, Tammy, and this amazing platform that you've created for us and for everyone listening out there. And just, I used to say juggling was the way to go, but now I like to say that perfectionism is underrated. And that is, I've taken a step back and said, you don't have to be perfect to do it all. So one of my favorite sayings is perfectionism is prison. And I even have that tattooed on me. So
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Wow.
So
Tattoo. Perfectionism is prison. Prism. Sorry,
prison.
prison.
That's okay.
Perfectionism is prison. It
Prison.
is hard to say, like say that three
It
times real
is.
fast.
Yeah.
So where did you come up with that tagline?
Um, so as growing up, I was always had to be perfect. Everything had to be perfect. I mean, in my first marriage, it was to the point where I hung my clothes in order, t-shirts were ironed, underclothes were ironed. Like everything had to be just perfect. And if I wasn't the perfect wife, if I wasn't the perfect mother, people would just see me as not being perfect, right? And I heard it one time, kind of a combination of different things. And I kind of put it together and it hit my soul. It just
Wow.
banged. Like it literally, I've got chills down my back right now. But it really was one of those things that just, I knew I had to have it. I knew I had to have it part of my course. I knew I had to share the word with people that you don't have to be perfect. You just got to start it. You just got to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Progress, not perfection.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, well, that's something that you were raised that you were raised to feel that you had to be perfect. What was that like?
I did. And it was more so I remember hearing my mom and my aunt on the phone all the time comparing us. And I always felt
Um,
like I had to be better. I had to do better. If someone else got a 95, I had to get 100. In school, I was an honor student. And then I just hit a wall that you just can't do everything and you can't be 100% at everything because
yeah,
you crash and burn. You really do.
yeah.
And I think that had a lot to do with my first marriage ending, that when it got to the point where I couldn't be perfect anymore, I ended up walking away.
Wow.
So
Um, do you find yourself like I know perfectionism is a really difficult thing. Like I struggle with it. It's funny, like I'm not perfect in the sense that oh my house has to be perfect or it's different things for me that
yeah,
have to be perfect. And it's almost like you can kind of but not that I can pick and choose, but it's just like yeah, I think you know what I mean, that it's just not everything, but certain things you have to be perfect at. Do you find yourself relapsing at all into that?
sometimes I'm still very competitive in sports and that. I'm not on my jerseys it says Sim-1 because I like to be number one. So I always say it's part of my name. What can I do? So
Yeah,
in some incidents, I still feel like, and it's okay to be perfect in certain things and it's okay to strive to be perfect. But what I
right.
really want to get the message across is don't hold it back because you're not perfect. So I just want to use my book as an example. I went almost 50 years without writing a book because I thought it had to be perfect grammar, perfect
Right.
spelling, perfect this, perfect that. And because of that, it held me back. And I didn't create my book because of that. And then I learned, met some amazing people that just get your ideas down, let the editors do their work, let other
Exactly.
people do what they do better, and you just get your story down. So that's what I want to get across, that perfectionism is good in some senses. You don't want to be sitting on the couch eating bonbons all your life, right? You want to strive for more, but at the same time, you don't want to not start And a really good example is I had my kids young. They're
Mhm.
37 and 36 this month, and I'm proud of that. But part of that story too is I never traveled till I was older. You mentioned that I love travel and I could be traveling all the time, but I didn't travel till I was older. And Bill and I were about to go to Florida, and I'm just gonna cry, sorry. I didn't want to go to Florida
Okay.
because I thought everybody was perfect. I was gonna walk on the beach and I wasn't gonna be able to wear a bathing suit. I wasn't gonna be able to go to Florida because
Yeah.
you got this visualization of everybody being supermodels, everybody being perfect. And that's what you get in your head, right?
Yeah.
And then once we started traveling, I'm like, wow, people around the world are no different than us. They're not supermodels on the Florida
It's not
beach.
like those sandals
Okay.
commercials, you know?
Exactly. And that's
Yeah.
okay, right? We're all unique in our own ways, and that's okay. It's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being vulnerable. I know it is a struggle. I mean, I struggle. Years ago I had a weight issue, and then I got really sick
Yeah.
and I lost a bunch of weight, and yeah, like, see me in a bathing suit now and it's still not a pretty picture. And I have those fears too. Um, yeah, thank you for
And of
sharing
course,
that.
it's a little no problem. It's a little bit more emotional right now because of my weight gain, because of the medication I'm on, and people not recognizing me right now. So it's
Well,
really hit.
I
And
recognize your soul and your aura, and it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful, as you always have been. Um, I remember when we met at a women's talk event, and you were busy with your camera, like taking photos. And it wasn't your job to do. You just did it out of the goodness of your heart, and you posted it for the event for them. And that was like the first thing that I remembered about you, was that you were so giving and so kind, to the people that were hosting the event, giving your talent and your time. So
thank you.
yeah, it was just so lovely and you still take lots of photos. You live in Calgary, and I know the photos that you take are just absolutely phenomenal.
Thank
Um, yeah,
you.
of like sunrises and sunsets and the bridges and the river, and of your dogs.
Yeah. My long-term goal was to be traveling all over the world, taking pictures of animals and all that.
Wow. Wow,
And
that's beautiful. So what kind of places, what places have you been to?
oh boy, I love taking groups, and with the groups we've gone to Nicaragua, China, Thailand, Europe. Unfortunately, we were scheduled to go to Vietnam when all this hit, so we'll
Right.
get back there. And then Bill and I have we did Ireland for 3 weeks. That was incredible. We definitely want to go back there
Wow.
again. We spent 3 weeks researching his McBride heritage. So
Yeah.
one thing about my traveling is, whether I'm setting up tours or going by ourselves, we do the traditional sightseeing, but I always make it where one night. So in China, we went and actually stayed. There was 30 of us, and we went actually to a couple's home and had dinner. And they had to do it in three seatings. But it's so important for me to get off the beaten path and see what people in that country really live like. That's so important to
Yeah.
me. In Ireland, we met people who had never met Canadians before. So that was,
Really?
yeah, we
That
found a
must have
little,
been really off the beaten path then. My goodness.
yeah, like if there's
Wow.
a dirt road, we'll take it. So,
Wow.
so
And
yeah.
yeah, and you were telling me earlier that you've been married, like, for 23 years.
So technically we're not married, but
Okay.
that's okay. He's still my other half. So I was married for almost 20 to the kids' dad, and
Okay.
then Bill and I have been together this month 23 years.
23 years. Okay, so
Yeah.
together
So
23 years.
yeah.
That's
So
wonderful. That's a feat in itself. My goodness.
yeah, exactly.
Right?
Two fur babies who are very spoiled.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you're on some medication. Would you care to share what's surrounding that?
Absolutely. So since October, and again, I've always felt I was a healthy person. In
Right.
fact, not too long ago for our insurance, I got prorated because I was so healthy for my age. So you get better premiums. And thank God I did that, because September, I went for a mammogram and they found cancer. So I'm stressing to women, and not only women, men too. The
Right.
rates are so high for men cancer, breast cancer as well. So since then, I've had 2 surgeries, and I will start radiation at the end of this month. And I'm an open book. So I always say to anybody, if they have questions, ask me directly. I don't mind. And then unfortunately, at the same time, I was diagnosed with a virus in my brain. And that has been, I'm going to different doctors for that, but that's pretty much, they figured that was part of the other diagnosis, that I was diagnosed with Crohn's. So, and I never even heard the word Crohn's. I didn't know, honest to God, through all my travels, through all my knowing people, the word Crohn's never entered my vocabulary. So I
Yeah.
didn't know what it meant. So it was a new thing for the whole family. So since then, I'm waiting for IV treatment, because you can't take the medication that some people can take for Crohn's because it spreads cancer. So because I was dealing with different things at the same time, the specialists really had to talk to each other. So right now I'm waiting to be going in for IVs for the Crohn's, and then I'll be dealing with treatments. So in the meantime, because I haven't gotten in yet, I'm taking steroids. So, and that's where the puffiness comes in. That's where, the tiredness comes in and stuff and that. And again, steroids, I mean, I take a small dose for my asthma, but it's nothing like this, right? And I had never even heard of that. But the more I find, again, that perfectionism word, a lot of people like to keep their illnesses in, and that's fine. That's but I find the more I talk about it, the more people come out of the woodwork that have had it, that are having it, that are dealing with it, and I'm not a doctor. First of all, that's one thing. I am not a doctor, but I'm always willing to share my experience and what I've dealt with and what I've gone through. And I'm not going to say it's easy, but I'm going to say that keeping a positive mind has helped me a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Keep
Family,
up with
friends.
that positive mind.
Yeah.
It is a huge thing. And I know from experience, because I have several autoimmune diseases. Crohn's is one of them. And I know exactly what you're saying when it comes to people don't talk about it. I'm more apt to talk about one of my other diseases before I talk about Crohn's, because
Right.
Crohn's is a intestinal bowel disease, and who talks about that?
Yeah.
Like nobody wants to have that conversation with people. So, and even with the people that I know have it, I'm still so embarrassed to talk about it. Like I know lots of people that have ulcerative colitis, which is like a sister or cousin disease to Crohn's. I only know like maybe about 2 or 3 other people that have Crohn's. It's mostly UC, and I'm just, as much as I don't want you to have it, I'm grateful that I now have somebody that I can talk to.
I know it seems weird, but every time someone tells me they've either have breast cancer or like, I don't know why, but like, it's almost like I'm the first person they text, and it's a good feeling that they want to confide in me. But in the same time, it's like, oh shit, you have cancer. Like, I feel really bad. And then I'm like, shit, I have it too. Like you almost.
It's amazing how these things that happen to us, like, I mean, we're not grateful that we have these things, but we're grateful that we can use the experience of them to help others, right?
To help others. And it really, I don't want to get too sentimental or down the wrong path, but it really makes you look at your life and
Yeah,
who's in your life. Like from going through what I've gone through since September, I've really stepped to take back, and I have lots of acquaintances, but I have a handful of friends, and that's where the
right.
difference comes in, right? And that's where, again, the perfectionism of helping other people and stuff, and that I love helping people. Well, you mentioned it, like I'm the first one to put my hand up to
I
volunteer
know
or
you are.
do
Yeah,
extras at the event, and now I have to sit back and go, I have to really think about, can I help, or is that going to hurt my health, right? So
right.
it's like, yeah, you really analyze yourself a little bit more.
Yeah.
But
I wonder too, does that perfectionism kind of set in at that point because you think to yourself, well, I used to be able to do that. and now I can't.
Yeah. Bill used to say I could work 400 hours in one day.
Oh
That
my
was our
gosh.
that was our saying, right?
How you added more hours to the 24-hour time allotment, I'm not too sure, but hey,
Yeah.
that's pretty
It
good.
was it was just me. Like I could watch TV and, send off 200 emails at the same time, or
Yeah,
an average day was 100 calls. And now if
yeah,
I make 50 or 60. So, um, if I'm tired at 2 or 3, I have to lay down and have a nap, or I know that I'm not going to be good for the next hour and a half. So that part of me, the perfectionism, is hard because it's like, you know, it kind of plays mind tricks on you. Am I really tired, or am I just thinking I'm tired? Can I have a coffee and keep going? So I'm starting to listen to my body more, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
yeah. I get that too. I I remember like I used to have like flowers and stuff like that. But then one of the first things that went like, about 8 years ago was the use of my hands. Like I found it really difficult to oh, it was just so difficult like to weed and do that kind of stuff. So I got mad one day and I went on my rider lawnmower and I went over everything. I'm
Nice.
like, no, I'm done. So that was a little bit of anger issue going on there. But I replaced that hobby with something else. So I got back into writing. I got into photography, into things like that. Things that didn't really require like, typing doesn't require like a whole lot of like muscle
Yes.
movement or like to be able to pull the weeds or like clicking a camera. It's just like my little finger, kind of thing. So it's not nearly as bad as doing a lot of the yard work around the farm and things like that. But yeah, I get it that it's a little bit, it's difficult when you compare yourself to what you used to be able to do
Yeah.
to what you can do now. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And that's,
you're amazing. I want you to know that you're amazing, and you're, as I said before, your soul is absolutely beautiful and you shine with everything that you do.
thank
I
you.
want you to know that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
So can you tell us
same
a
to
little bit
you,
of,
because I
oh,
love it. Like I love, that's what I was going to get at, is I love having really strong, and not just women. I know it's Women Day, happy Women Day but
yeah,
I don't care if you're black, white, green, purple, fat, skinny, 99 to, like, I believe in having good people around me, and that's the kind of people that even more so mean a lot to me. So
yeah.
thank you.
Oh, I'm really happy to have you in my life, truly. And you're a fellow children's author. Um,
Yes.
yeah. So can you tell us about, so your first book was Maple's Great Adventure.
Yes.
And that came out, I want to say like a year ago,
Yeah, a little over a year ago.
a little over a
Yes.
year ago. And then you've had another one and you're working on a third. So can you tell, do all three of them go together or,
Yes, there's actually 14. There's going to be it's 14 book series.
oh my
Um,
gosh.
Maple starts in BC. So
Okay.
Maple BC is out, Maple Yukon is out, and then Maple Territory. It's all done. It's
Oh,
going to be out, I'd say, within the next couple of weeks. They're just doing the layout, all that fun stuff. And then all 13, the 14th one, I'm just finalizing. So what happens is Maple goes on a magical adventure on the bird of each province or territory, and it teaches them the tree, the flower, the animal, the province, the provincial flag. And then when it gets to the Canadian flag, it goes swoosh, and that's how Maple starts rolling and lands on the next bird of the next province or territory.
oh, I love that. I wonder if you can get that into the schools.
I
That would
will
be
eventually.
amazing.
Yeah, I will eventually. Right now, some of the bigger companies in that, because it's a 14-part series, they don't want
Right.
to carry it until there's more books, because
Okay.
then you have to commit to every 3 months producing a book and I can't right now
Right.
guarantee or commit that. It is in some schools. My ex-husband's wife is a teacher in BC,
Okay.
so it's in her school.
It's good to
And
have those connections.
yeah, so I do have it, and Bill, my other half, did an amazing job of he's done the research of all the BC and Yukon, all the schools, all the
Right.
small mom and pop bookstores, all that. So
Oh,
it was supposed to happen this year, but it'll probably happen next year, where I do 2 or 3 month tour and just head out and get in a, I don't know, a motorhome or something and just go on the road. So
Oh,
that
that'd be amazing.
an
Oh my
adventure.
goodness.
Yes.
Like a whole series like that, oh my goodness. Best of luck to you for that, because I can see that going far. I really can
Awesome.
across Canada. That's just amazing.
Awesome.
Really, really
Yeah.
good.
And the
Um,
puzzles, sorry, the game is already made. I just have to produce it. There's stuffed animals, there's puppet animals.
wow.
So
So you have like a whole line that is
yeah,
going to go with this.
right.
Oh,
And then the
wow.
bird of each animal is kids' names. So my grandkids are part of it. And then what I did was friends right across Canada. I
Yeah.
entered their children in. So I've got kids right across Canada that are family and friends. So it's a
Wow.
good for connecting with them, but also for a marketing tool, because you don't want to just, I don't want to just all kids in Alberta, because then that's who's going to buy. Whereas if you
Right.
spread it
Right. Wow, that's
from
awesome.
sales. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Well, you really can do it all. Like when I look at you, it's like, wow, you really can do it all, because you've got like so many fingers in pots, and I love the fact that you can do it all, and you're saying to yourself you don't have to be perfect, but you just have to get out there and do it.
Yeah, just start it.
Just start it.
Yeah, I have to do a shout out to Jim Kaspari. He's my coach in California, and
Okay.
that's his favorite saying is just start it.
Just
And
start it.
just start it. Don't worry about perfectionism. Don't worry about how it looks. Don't worry about anything. Just start it and it'll come. And you don't have to start a book at the beginning. Start whatever bullet points you want. Some writers, and I didn't know this, some writers write the ending first.
Yes,
Some
that's
writers
true.
write first. Some writers, but don't have it in your head that it has to be perfect to get it down on paper.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's such amazing advice to it. I mean, I know in our group we have several writers, and that's such great advice for all of them. Thank you so much. Um, so let me ask you, what makes your soul soar?
Oh, that's a hard one. So many. So of course, spending time with family and friends,
Yeah.
like health and the puppies. But from a sales and a business point of view, when I work with entrepreneurs or when I work with companies and I get an email and oh, it worked, or I get an email, our sales doubled, or
Wow.
when somebody else is doing really good because of something I shared, that's when I just from ear to ear shine,
Yeah.
because I want everybody to be as successful as I know they can be and not hold back because of
Wow.
this.
That's
So,
wonderful.
and my other word is scosomeness is part of my course. That's a word I made up. You
Okay,
have,
you'll have to explain that.
yeah. So you have to get through scary to get to awesomeness. So scosomeness is my,
Awesomeness. I love that.
yeah,
Wow. Awesomeness.
yeah,
Scary to awesome. Really
yeah,
good. You made up
yeah.
there was another word you made up too. Can't remember.
I have a few.
Yeah, I can't remember. It was in a post, and I remember.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, but you do make up words. You could start your own
Yeah.
little Simone dictionary, I think.
As Bill says, I have my own language.
So Simone, I know that you've had this health scare, and you've got a lot going on, and I just want you to know that we are here for you always. You can lean on us anytime, lean on me anytime. I'm always here for you. And I want you to know that I consider you a good friend. And I'm really grateful that you came on today to chat. And um, best of luck for all of it. Because I mean, I don't even have to say that, because I know it's all going to turn out just perfect. I know it's going to be just perfect. And just want you to know that I'm here.
Thank you, and
So,
vice versa. I know we have some awesome chats at weird hours of the day and night.
yeah. So,
And it's all good. Love you
so
lots, and love your listeners and readers. And just before we go, I just want to mention,
mm,
I've had someone say it's long podcast or it's a long listen. What I like to do is put it on while I'm cooking, or put it on while I'm in the tub, or put it on,
yeah.
while my clients have me on hold. Sometimes the other day it took me an hour and a half to listen to the whole thing, but it didn't matter. I listened to it anyways. And
Yeah.
so again, part of that perfectionism. I don't have to sit down and listen for 15 minutes straight. So
No, just little
little
bits and pieces here and there. Yeah,
little
and you get it done.
and
You get it
done.
started, you get it started, and you get it done. There you go. I love
Absolutely.
that. Well, hopefully we'll be able to have you on again.
Would love
Yeah, and we can hear more about Maple's great adventure across Canada, and yeah, and see how you're improving.
Thank
Okay.
you so much.
We love you lots, Simone, and yeah, we'll chat soon. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.